not only was it not even on my long list, I didn't even think about putting it on my long list. I didn't give Seth Rollins' entrance a millisecond of thought. It annoys the ever-loving dog crap out of me. It is, without a doubt, the most annoying theme song I have ever heard in my life. It wasn't even on my short list. It wasn't even on my long list. It's not in my top 200. It's a stupid entrance with stupid music and a stupid chant that I hate more than anything in the world.
Welcome to Left Turn Red Hooks, episode number 31. I'm your host, Dan Lindsay. And joining me on this pod today is Tyler. He is back. We are talking wrestling. And he reminds me of Michael Buffer as he is dressed in a suit right now. I'll let him explain that if he wants to. He might just let you guys just figure out why he's in a suit and not even address it.
Fighting out of the red corner! It's time! For a top 10 list episode, Dan, this is exciting. I'm really thrilled to be here. I am dressed too good for this. And not to say that you do not deserve the best dressed man in all of South Florida. All I mean is I normally obviously do not dress like this. I just came from being on air, so I had to, do the shave thing and the suit thing. So here we are, and I didn't have time to change. So we are rocking and rolling.
I love it. I'm the host. This is pretty much my shirt of choice anytime we do a wrestling. Though I did upgrade my Roman Reigns shirt the other day. I will wear that next time. But I did upgrade that the other day, thanks to my lovely wife. But yes, we have the well-dressed Tyler Lopes here joining us, and I'm excited. You threw out this idea probably at least 2 or 3 months ago, if not even longer. And we're finally getting around to this. Our top 10 wrestling entrances. And this was really, really hard for me. it just was.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Because I'm just like, I'm more of the guy that's invested in the storylines, and sometimes like, oh yeah, they have a pretty cool entrance, and now I'm trying to pay attention to entrances more, and I try not to go too recency bias, but actually kind of I think works in my favor at the same time. So we've discussed this at length before, where I've really only picked up watching wrestling really, really hardcore since basically Roman Reigns and the Tribal Chiefdom. A little before that, I know enough of the history and enough of the top players, but not as deep dive as Tyler does here. So I'm very curious to see where our lists I'll come to here.
Sure.
I'm very, very excited here, but I have to say, I joked to you a few weeks ago when we were discussing how we were gonna do this and different things. I was like, my list is just gonna be all Bloodline members.
I didn't realize that you said Bloodline entrances for a half a second there, and I was like, Dan, please. By the way, you definitely could get to 10 because Yokozuna technically is a part of the Bloodline, even though he was portrayed as a super wrestler.
I honestly
so
haven't even finished this list. I didn't put Yokozuna on there. Technically, I could put Naomi and Nia Jax on here, and I could keep coming with more. My point really is to say, I was really thinking about all these Bloodline entrances during some research and looking through some different things, and to me, like, Roman and Fatu have to be there to the top. I would put them over Jay, as much as I shill for Jay on this podcast. But I was really thinking about it, and poor Jimmy Uso. But man, I think even compared to even his dad and uncles and older cousins, it's like Jimmy's is not really the greatest. No matter who you put on this list, Jimmy's probably gonna be at the bottom of the list for Bloodline entrances. That's the purpose of this, because Jimmy's is kind of like, hey, I'm here. I'm just kind of like, yeah. But
I love Jimmy Uso's. Fair enough. I will say I love Jimmy Uso's theme song. I quite like Born a King. I do quite like it. It's one of Def Rebel's few actual songs that I actually like. Yeah. And so that's great. But yeah, in terms of the actual full scope of the entrance, not really much to it. Just kind of comes out, high fives some people, or just walks kind of gingerly to the ring and then gets in it and, points says that's really it. So there's not a whole lot to it. So I am with you. That's probably going to be near the bottom. So thank God that that wasn't your actual list, because I literally would have just said, hey, man, I'll see you in a few weeks. I'm good. Like, we don't need to do the rest of this thing. I'm out. Don't need to be here. Why did you make me come home early so that I could be in a suit and have you just say, I really like Yokozuna entrance. It's the best. So
Yes.
No.
This is just, yep.
Yeah, so I don't know what you have
giggles.
next on the docket here, Dan, but I do want to make sure that we are clear on what the rules are going to be, and everybody at home is going to be clear on what the rules are for this list. But I know you probably have more things, but I just want to make sure that I will be able to get to that at some point.
Yeah, no, I had to show that up for kicks and giggles on this. We definitely will. We're gonna work our way up top. We're gonna work our way from 10 up to number 1 for our lists. We have a few honorable mentions. I know it was extremely tough for you. I think at one point you said you had it down to, I think, 25, then you whittled it down to, I don't know, maybe 15, I think you told me. And then like that was excruciating from 15. So it's like, throw some honorable mentions in. I have honorable mentions too, but I'm not going to go as in depth because my honorable mention list is long. But when I show my honorable mention list, I'll explain why it's that long, and that will kind of frame the rest of my list. So why don't you kick us off first here? Who are your honorable mentions for best for your top 10, for your wrestling entrances that did not make your top 10?
Sure. So before I get into my honorable mentions, I do want to make a couple of things clear for the folks at home. So this list is going to be the top 10 coolest entrances in wrestling history. So what that means is it doesn't necessarily have to come from any company, but it can come from any company. So you may see some ECW, you may see some WCW, who knows, maybe some New Japan, TNA, anywhere, or any of these other companies, AEW, obviously, you just never know. So that's number 1. So it's coolest entrances ever. And number 2, it is coolest base entrances ever. Now, what that means is this does not mean like a WrestleMania entrance. So like, for instance, the John Cena entrance at WrestleMania 23, where he came out in a car and shattered through a bunch of glass. So it's not like that. It would be the generic base John Cena entrance that he would come out to every week, or the generic base Chris Jericho entrance that he would come out to every week, or the generic base AJ Styles, or whoever it is. It's not a one-off Rusev driving out of WrestleMania on a tank. It is the base entrance that you'd see every single week, right? So just to clear that up, so if you just start seeing random names on here, like, really, that's no, it's the base entrance that we're talking about. It's not just one-off entrances. Okay, so I do want to make that clear. Okay,
and I feel as an added note here before you get started, I feel like if we went to one-off entrances, I think we'd have about half of Triple H's WrestleMania entrances on our list if it was all like
they certainly would be. It certainly would be hard to at least leave him off completely. There would be at least a few of Triple H's entrances on there for sure. Okay, so as Dan said, I got my list down to 15, and I couldn't decide. I mean, it was just mind-numbing and horrible to get it down to 15. And so what I did was, instead, I got rid of 1, and I put the other 4 as honorable mentions. So I don't know if that's cheating, but
it works for me. We're making our list. We're making up our rules as we go. So.
Pretty much. So here are my honorable mentions. So this would be in order of 15 or 14, technically, through 11. So you got Sting from WCW, obviously descending from the rafters. This is somebody that obviously really intimidated everybody back in the day. Had to include him. And I did specify, by the way, WCW. So this is not his TNA entrance. This is not his AEW entrance. This is not his WWE entrance. This is WCW version of Sting. Brock Lesnar, number 13. Brock Lesnar was really hard to leave off because the entrance is just so darn intimidating. It is something that as soon as you hear that metallic screech, somebody's about to get really, really messed up. And so, in terms of intimidation factor, in terms of recognizability, it certainly is top 10. But in terms of coolest entrances ever, I had to unfortunately make the cut. Number 12, a very, very, very hard cut, Kane. I think that people forget how awesome Kane's entrance was with the fire and phenomenal song. Obviously, super intimidating with the mask, without the mask. It didn't matter. Coming into the ring, throwing down, and fire coming out of the ring posts. Very, very intimidating. Excellent production value. One of the hardest cuts, but not the hardest cut, because the hardest cut is the Animal Batista. Oh man, that entrance music is something else. And yet somehow I still found a way to have 10 other entrances that are better than Batista. I don't know how, but it happened, and I'm excited to reveal everything. But yeah, a little bit more on Batista. That was easily the hardest cut. I mean, it like the fact that it's not top 10 is almost blasphemous in my mind. And so, and I think it's good to say this too. This isn't just entrances or entrance music, I should say. This is the entire package. So, like for instance, I'm just gonna spoil this for everybody. Maybe I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this, and that's totally fine. Edge is not on my list. And the reason is because I don't particularly care for his actual entrance. While if I were to make top 10 entrance musics of all time, I'd be shocked if it's not top 5. I mean, it's almost as perfect of a theme song as you can get. Mm-hmm. But the entrance itself, sure, you got the this and the pyro, that's fun. But the rest of it, it's pretty nondescript. So that that doesn't really give me a whole lot else. So that's just an example of how just because someone has a cool entrance theme doesn't necessarily mean they're going to have a cool entrance in the total package. So there you go. That's my honorable mentions. Now, Dan, apparently you have 36 of these. So fire them away and let's see what we got.
No, I don't have 36, but as you can see, I have 13. Now, I'm not going to go through everybody's entrances here. I actually find it very interesting that you mentioned Batista, because Batista, for me, was also one of those that he was at number 8, number 9 spot for me. I have this long list in front of us right now because this is my frame of reference in a sense of I had a bunch of guys that I just started listing off, and I kind of went through and watched their entrances, watched different things, added to this list, took off this list. It was at first honestly just looking through a couple names I had, and also these 13 aren't necessarily don't have to be in this order. I could be throw anybody in this order. The two things I do want to pull attention to though is Bad News Barrett. I think I even texted this to you when I was doing some research. Very interested in trends. I kind of liked it, but it was kind of more just music based, not like cool entrance. But Bad News Bear on there. But so I mean, he might be kept in that 23rd. But I kept going back and forth and putting Goldberg or Kane, Rock up in the list, Orton, Roman, and as you can see in this list, I will not have Undertaker in my top 10. Which was probably going to bring the matches against me, and that's fine. I will say Dan, the reason I don't have Undertaker in my top 10, I couldn't put him in my top 10. I get it, and I feel this comes from how I approach wrestling, how I look at wrestling, and coming in towards the end of Undertaker's career, where I understand what Taker did. He had a pallbearer, he had a lot of a couple different iterations. We had the biker Taker, a lot of different things, and I get how ominous and intimidating his entrance can be, but to me, it's kind of and I get why sometimes they're just long, but I feel like as time went on, as he was getting towards the end of his career with WWE, especially as full-time wrestler, it was more of it just yeah, that gong's intimidating, and I get the shock value of that. And even as I'm actually looking on this list too, the shock value of glass shattering did not make my top 10 either, and I meant to put him in here too. I get yeah, I love this. Oh, this is gonna be great. I get the shock value, I get that, but it's like, it's like that moment, and again, this might be more of the recency bias from me. Don't lose it over there, don't lose it, don't lose it. I think you'll appreciate my top 10. I did take Jey Uso out of it. um, I couldn't put Roman in it.
Yay.
This just frames me to where I was going more for, yeah, cool entrance, but my mindset was I'm a sucker for guitar riffs. I'm a sucker for the rock ballad type of entrances and stuff like that. So that's where I might have leaned a little more. That's why I see Penta over here. Brock was at number 4 for me at one point. He was number 7 at me for one point. And again, he's not 21 because it's, I feel like there's 20 other entrances above him. He's just in this list that I grouped together. So that's why I wanted to group all these together and mention these. I had the Hardy Boys number 7, number 8 for a little while too, or especially
They
Jeff
were on
Hardy,
my
because
short list for sure, or my
that
long list, I should say.
yeah, just because, again, the music's iconic when it hits. And I love that New Day entrance in WrestleMania. I forget, but the 4-way tag match where they came back, Dudleys were back. It was the Bar,
Sure.
and
Enzo and Cass.
Enzo and Cass, yeah. Which they're great on the mic as they come out. I didn't count them as an entrance really, just because of their mic work isn't really an entrance, but it's. Yeah, so this is my frame of reference. So I'm hoping you at least appreciate the top 10. I know I have some shock value on here. I will not put a couple people on here that a lot of people would put in their top 10, probably even their top 3, but I still think you will appreciate my top 10. Yeah, or do you just want to quit now, and now you're just not even wanting to go through this
anymore? I don't want to quit because I need to understand. And I am now too deep into this to not understand. Like, dude, my number 1 is in your honorable mentions. Like that. So to me, that I'm genuinely confused and curious to see where you're at. Several others in my top 10 are in your honorable mentions, which that I assumed. Obviously we're gonna have different perspectives. That's totally fine, but. Yeah, dude. And by the way, Stone Cold is not going to be my number 1. I'll just spoil that right now. But Stone Cold Steve Austin not even being in your honorable mentions and not being in your top 10, like that may just be literal blasphemy. Like Dan 316 says, I hate Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's what that is.
But to me, and that's where you're probably gonna get a few of these where you could probably argue Stone Cold replacing probably about 4 or 5 of these on my list. But to me, I'm just I'm listening, I'm watching some of these, and yeah, that glass shattering, much like the gong for Undertaker, it grabs your attention, it scares you, it intimidates you. But I feel like it's just like that's the only cool thing about the entrance. The music is okay for both of them. And that's all they do. So that's where I get the intimidation factor there, but to me there is a couple more complete packages that I preferred over others, and again, might just be more of my recency bias, but yeah, I think I'm hoping you at least appreciate at least my top 5. I get it if you're like, who is 6 or 10 here for you? I get it. So, but since
Fair
you started
enough.
with the honorable mentions, I will let you go with your number 10.
So number 10, it's probably going to be my most controversial. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Honestly, I can't even remember what all of these are anymore. So we're it's going to be up there for sure if it's not my number 1 most controversial, and it is a newcomer to the WWE. And that is Penta.
Nice. That was so hard to not put in my top 10. You want to see my 10 before you start on him, or?
Yes, go ahead. Yes, please. Show
my
me
number 10 is
the
glorious Bobby Roode. Just that whole glorious, and the song is just sucks you in so much. Like I think I had him at 10 while I was moving to get different guys up and down between 7 and 8 and the honorable mentions. I kept him at 10. I was like, he has to be at the bottom of my list just because
Sure.
it just grabs your attention. But yeah, Penta. That was that was hard for me to not put in mine. It really was. That was one of the harder ones to take out.
Sure. Yeah, and I'll comment on yours obviously before I dive into mine. But yeah, Bobby Roode was on the long list. Probably was somewhere in the late teens to early 20s for me. Absolutely iconic, no doubt about it. Talk about an entrance made the man. This is what I mean. This is one of the best examples of that for sure. So I have zero problem with that being in your top 10 at all. I think that's great. But for me, you want to talk about the entrance making a man. The reason why I put Penta over Batista is because when Batista got his theme song that we all know, Walk Alone, by I think it's by Saliva, I believe. When he got that entrance, that was actually his second entrance theme.
Right.
He had already gotten way over with his first entrance theme, which is very similar to Walk Alone, just obviously a little bit different, more just instrumental and stuff like that, and by a different band, I believe. So he made the entrance amazing, much like the entrance made him amazing. This entrance for Penta made Penta in the WWE. That entrance is so good, it made everybody immediately go, this guy is going to be huge. They love him so much already, and he got over instantly. And you just can't say that about Batista's entrance. It's just a fact. Now, you can make the same statement for Bobby Roode. Without that entrance, my God, I mean, who knows what Bobby Roode would have been? So that is I think the logic is exactly sound in that way as well for you, which is why I have no problem with Bobby Roode at number 10. But for me, the pyro, the uniqueness of the pyro, by the way, obviously the remix with Adam Jones on the guitar riff, and just everything that you get with Penta. That is why, even though it's still new, I'm putting him at number 10.
Yeah. Well, with Penta, honestly, talking about him a little bit. I mean, you told me about him before I even joined WWE, and I mean, he's obviously very well traveled. AEW, well known for that, but he was in it was a AAA or it's AAA, right? Because he was in was it CMLL, right? Or was he in both? But
I think he might have been in both.
Okay. But I mean,
kind of, I can't remember anymore, but I know he was in AAA at one point, and I'm pretty sure he was in CMLL at one point too.
Gotcha.
But I don't know for sure.
But again, to the point, he's well traveled, so I feel like but I don't know, and that's actually one of the things I meant to do and I never did was kind of look up his other entrances for the other promotions to see how much they differ. I don't know if you know how much they differ from the WWE entrance, but I feel like there's got to be some similarities throughout all of his entrances. In some fashion, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, obviously outside of the pyro, right? I mean, obviously the pyro is pretty ridiculous. He had a lot of pyro in AEW. Him and his brother both had a lot of pyro in AEW. So there's also that. But in like Lucha Underground and stuff, like they didn't really have a whole lot of pyro. So mostly his entrance was just kind of doing that, that strut to the ring and high-fiving people and doing all that stuff, or if he was a bad guy, just kind of doing the slow walk and being intimidating and Cero Miedo and all that. Yeah, exactly. So but yeah, this entrance in WWE is so unique, with the spinning Beyblade basically in the background.
Yeah,
it's just so creative, and I love every second of it.
And and me being a production nerd too, when they can get that shot just right too, like the focus depth just right and everything, like framed well, it's like that adds to that even more. Like it's cool, but like when that cameraman is on point with him too, it's just like up another notch.
Exactly. All right,
number 9. I have my boy.
Number 9. No, Edge again. Like I said before, he was on the long list. Don't get me wrong. This is not no disrespect to the Edge entrance. Obviously, I love it. It would probably be in my favorite entrances list. It would probably be in the best entrances list. It would be in a lot of different entrances, but not coolest entrances list in terms of my thing. So my number 9 is a tough one at the moment.
Ooh.
Karrion Kross in
That was
NXT. Listen, I know you're gonna want to talk about Edge, and I'm gonna let you, but we cannot.
You have the floor.
When Killer Kross came to the WWE, I was a little bit worried because he was one of those guys that, was a little bit stiff in the ring, didn't really have a lot of technical style or finesse that you kind of look for in terms of a WWE superstar, and wasn't the best on the mic either. So I was concerned that he wasn't going to make it. I was concerned that he was going to be a guy that was going to get lost in the shuffle, and then he entered the ring for the first time on NXT TV during the pandemic against Leon Slater. Poor Leon.
Poor Leon.
And from that moment, when we all saw that entrance, Karrion Kross's life changed forever, because he went immediately from just a guy who knows what we're going to get to this is the guy that's going to run NXT for the next 2 or 3 years. This is going to be a guy that's going to win a world championship. This is a guy that they could build the company around like that in one entrance. And when you talk about coolest entrances ever, the lights, the music,
yes.
Scarlett singing it, actually on the song, it's her voice and her singing it on the way out to the ring. The camera work of her stepping through the ropes, fall and pray, and then her falling backwards only to have Karrion Kross then appear behind her and swallow up the whole frame and beat his chest and scream and do his cross symbol and the guitar riff and everything. It is as perfect of an entrance that you can possibly have. And the only reason is that number 9 is because we only got it in that NXT way a handful of times before he was called up, subsequently destroyed, and then sent packing. That's the only reason it's at number 9. Yeah. But my gosh, there was no way on God's green earth or any other color earth that they may be out there that I was going to have a top 10 coolest entrances list and not have Karrion Kross.
I remember having Karrion on my list earlier, and I feel ashamed that he was at least not in that honorable mention group now, because I totally forgot. Because I was looking at it, I was like, oh yeah, because I liked it. I liked the fact that right before his time ended with WWE, that they actually did that on a couple PLEs with him and Scarlett. And I was like, that's really cool.
When he returned the second time, they gave his entrance back.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what they should have done. And then they took it away again, and we're like, but...
Yeah, but then they did it again.
Perfect! Stop!
For his last 2 PLEs, and and maybe even a Raw entrance, they did the whole NXT thing again. Yeah. And I was like, is this a sign of things to come? Or is this like, thank you for your time, we'll send you off correctly, how we should have started you with? But that's where I was kind of like, wait, is he actually gone? Because it's like, they're doing the full thing. They're doing the thing. Shouldn't that mean they want to keep him around? Because they're like, hey, we're invested in the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd think so. And the fact that he's not with the company anymore is completely mind-boggling. It does not make any sense. But here's what I will say about it, because I haven't really commented publicly on it, quite frankly, other than obviously tweeting we were on Cross a few times. And obviously that has not done anything. It's clear that he's completely done with the company at this point, which is a shame. But I was right. And I'm so happy to be one of the few, because I know that there's a lot of Karrion Kross fans out there that completely jumped off the bandwagon, and you cannot convince me otherwise. By the way, Dan, no offense, You're one of them. So I am firm, and I always was firm in my belief that Karrion Kross could be something special. And you know why? Because I was there for this. I was there the first time this happened. I saw it live with no YouTube. No, I mean, there was YouTube, but I didn't see it on YouTube. I didn't look it up on Twitter afterwards and go, ooh, that's cool, with all the comments thinking. I just saw it raw, straight up, with nothing to go off of, and went, oh my God, are you kidding me? That's the coolest entrance that's maybe the best entrance I've ever seen in my entire life. It's up there. Split reaction, and I knew that's the guy. That guy can be special. That guy right there, and that girl right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I am so happy that, unfortunately, just before he ends up leaving again, everybody in the world could see how special that guy was too. And I'm happy that I never gave up. I never gave up on the guy. I always thought that he could be something good. I always said, if you just book him right for 2 months, just give him 2 months. Just give him 8 matches in a row where he kills somebody. And I swear to you, you can turn this thing around. And I'm so happy that he was able to finally get completely over that hump before he left. And it's a damn shame that he's not there being able to reap all the rewards, all the money that he could have made from being that over. And he's not going to get it. I mean, he's going to get some of it, obviously, being on in the independents, but he's not going to get it the way he could with all the millions of dollars in merch he would have sold, and the arenas he would have sold out, and the crazy matches he could have had. And if you had your way with your booking, Dan Lindsay, retiring John Cena, it could have been a whole thing, and we're not getting it.
Yeah,
and that's a shame.
And I was just thinking about the booking too. I love how when we started the booking, because I'm pretty sure I adjusted it in between episodes that we recorded. But I had put together, knowing that I wanted to end it with Karrion, and I had thrown AOP into War Games, but we hadn't recorded that episode yet, and then AOP got released before we recorded. So I dropped them out and just substituted some other people that still kind of made sense and tied some other things together. And now, so like my whole last 2 months of booking John Cena will never, he doesn't even, it's like,
it didn't even get a chance.
Yeah, impossible to happen. It's not like it's it's not like, a lot of the stuff we talked about there was kind of improbable, but it's still kind of a sliver of hope kind of thing. And well, now these are literally impossible. I'm like, Anyway, I digress.
That's infuriating. I can understand.
And definitely on that bandwagon. It's Karrion is one of those guys to where that was right around the time that I was getting back into wrestling, and I'm seeing NXT, not quite fully understanding NXT and kind of getting used to some other names and stuff. But I do remember Karrion, I was like, wow, that is certainly unique. And then the whole, like you just mentioned, ruined on the main roster, left, came back, and they were setting up so many little storylines. I mean, like him torturing the Miz, they could have, or befriending the Miz to help, or whatever they're gonna do there. And then they had the stuff with AJ Styles that was, that would have probably been. I always felt that when they transitioned to the Sammy storyline, I was like, this will be great to help Karrion kind of establish who he can be, and then someone like AJ Styles can really help put him over. Really show it's like Styles is one of the, I mean, even Sammy is too, where it's like a loss doesn't really hurt him, but especially Styles, because Styles just he's just goated up there as he can do it. He can do almost no wrong. You can throw him in anything, and he's just one of those few up there. So it's like they could have done so much with him, and we've talked about this before. There's no mid card. There's no mid card on SmackDown right now. He would have been perfect to come step back in and take that U.S. title during the Open Challenge from Sammy.
Yep. And especially with Andrade getting fired, apparently. I mean, now your mid card is pretty much Carmelo Hayes, Sami Zayn now obviously being moved over there, Solo Sikoa,
We haven't seen in 2 weeks.
Aleister Black,
Damian, I guess.
I guess Damian Priest. I will never really look at him as a mid carder, to be honest. He's
Not
always
especially not
mid-carder,
anymore. Not that he's been a world champion. No, it's hard to. But I mean, he can transition back and forth between the two, and technically, it's
By the way, how fantastic was that Phoenix and Zayn match on SmackDown the other? Oh my gracious me! Like, if anybody was unaware of Rey Fenix's game, you better be aware now, because that boy is. To steal it from Javon Evans, that boy is bouncy.
when you first told me about Penta, and then Phoenix was at some point probably going to come over here with them, but we didn't expect it to be so soon. And when I saw the first match with Phoenix in a singles match, I'm like, man, and you were right. Where both Phoenix and Penta can dazzle, but I mean, Penta's more of the striker mold, I guess. I don't know the right category to really put him in, but I mean, Phoenix is definitely that high flyer, more mentality, and the top ropes tricks and stuff like that. Oh man, I need to go back and watch. I need to go rewatch that Sammy Phoenix match, because man, that was ecstatic. And I mean, I love that open challenge is back, but we should get back to our list, because
I don't know if it's really an open challenge, considering every single open challenge has been, hey, do you want to wrestle me during this open challenge? Okay. Oh, hey, backstage before the match. Hey, you can wrestle me tonight in the open challenge. Well, it's still not an open challenge because you know who's coming. And then it's like, oh, hey, well, I'll wrestle you next week in the open challenge. It's not an open challenge if this is how it's going to be. This is just you making matches. This is not an open challenge.
We just need to call it invitational.
And then somebody comes out.
We just need to call it invitational like we did.
I guess so. Yeah, the Sami Zayn, the El Generico Invitational. That's
Yes. Yes.
Can you wait a minute? Can you imagine? Sami Zayn is in the ring, and he says, "If you want some, come get some," and the challenger is El Generico.
Oh, I was going to say one of the 3 El Grande Americanos.
No coffee drinks on SmackDown. We don't need no caffeine on Fridays. All right, going into the weekend, we're gonna get plenty of sleep. We don't need no caffeine on Friday nights. Okay.
But it's, yeah, I mean, you can even get the tall, medium, or short version.
We can get the grande, the venti, or the whatever the hell the big one is. I don't.
Venti's the big one.
Idea.
The
venti's the big one. Oh,
I think so. Anyway, we have completely off the rails, but that is us to a T. Thank you all for still watching. Let's just quickly, because you kind of already mentioned it. Edge is number 9 for me, just because of.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about Edge. I'm so sorry.
Edge to me was one of those where he kept going on and off my list. But again, I'm a sucker for guitar riffs. I love the song, and he kept it to AEW. And part of me that I think will always, like this entrance and put in the cool category for me is honestly because of, and I don't remember the ring announcer who first did it, but the first ring announcer to go Radar Superstar, like
Tony Chimmel, you hot dog, you.
And like to me that's just another little wrinkle that I like, that I don't know if you can technically consider part of the entrance, but I do, because he's coming down and he's being introduced and stuff. So I mean, that's kind of one of those where it's, I don't know, the guitar. Again, I know we weren't going for specific entrances. We're trying to keep more at the base, but the fact that he came out at the Rumble in 21.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, 21. Wow, I got a year right for once. I mean, the fact that he came back out in the Rumble, and that to me is just, wow. Just it's the fact that he was back and everything.
The return one was January of 2020. It was the one right before the pandemic. But then he did also come out during the 2021
right.
Rumble.
The return Rumble is what I mean. Yeah. So yeah. Right
okay, yeah. Then that would be 2020. Yeah.
But and it's just the pose, the guitar, the song. To me, that's just it's fun for me. And that's basically why I have him on my list. I mean, I again, you saw the honorable
Fair
mentions.
enough.
You could definitely
I
argue
did.
me off of that ledge.
No. I have no problem with it. No problem with it.
All right, who's your number 8?
Number 8. I didn't see. I don't know. Maybe this is up to the top of the list for you, but I don't. I know this is not going to be 8 through 5, and it's not on your honorable mentions that I saw. So maybe I could have missed it. I am a little bit blind at times, and it is going to be. Speaking of Edge, the Brood.
Ooh,
the Brood. Listen, man, they came up to the stage through a ring of fire. Need I say more? That's about as awesome as it gets.
That is true.
And then to add on to that, they just ran to the ring and started spitting blood at people. Oh, I'm sorry, red discus fluid, because we can't say blood because apparently that makes it illegal. I don't know how that works, but I don't know. But yeah, they just started spitting blood at people. This is the coolest thing ever. It's awesome. Sorry, no other explanation needed. Ring of Fire plus blood equals your number 8 on my list.
Yep. Yeah, no, that is definitely a good entrance there. That they definitely came up and looking at mine. I'm putting our boy John Cena at number 8 here. It's it's right there, and this is where I'm sure people will hate me. Excuse me. Yes, can I help you?
Are you speaking of Doot John Cena, or is this Doctor of Thugonomics John Cena? Because I would argue if normal John Cena is on your list, then Doctor of Thugonomics John Cena should be number 1.
Yeah, no, the Thugonomics. Yeah, I probably should have considered that harder. But to me, it's for me the do will always kind of stick with me more than Thugonomics. Again, more
Understood.
of just where I've kind of encountered Cena, remember Cena more of. And sorry, but Paul Heyman intimidating as well. Like, come on now. if Paul Heyman's trying to imitate it, not intimidate it, imitate it. I mean, can we really go wrong here with that entrance on this list?
I suppose not.
Yeah, John Cena, my number 8. I don't think we. It's just what's weird for me though, because this was the hard part for me. And I know people are just gonna have comments on this. It's like, because I just the do is just iconic for me. It's like you hear it, what's going on. And I can get why people are like, well, why is that on there? But Undertaker or Stone Cold isn't in your top 10. I don't. Honestly, there's. I feel like there's more to Cena's full entrance than the Undertaker or Stone Cold. In a sense of, it's not just the one thing, and then it's all then it's.
There's more to John Cena's entrance than the Undertaker's entrance.
Okay, maybe more to isn't the right phrase to use. I don't know. Just the Undertaker's entrance has just never struck me as wow. Once you get past the gong, I'm like, okay, this is how it is.
All right, man.
That's how it is.
I mean, you got the slow saunter. You got the
that's the
you got the picking the jacket up, and you got hairs, and you got the turning the lights on, and then
the long saunter is the hard.
You got the getting in the ring, and then you got the taking the hat off and the rolling the eyes behind the back. Like, that's a lot. John Cena just. I mean, yeah, I understand. It just, I don't know if I'd say there's more to Cena's entrance, but okay.
Yeah, and maybe more than is not the right phrase to use there. It's just the long saunter for Undertaker just kind of takes me out of his entrance. Honestly, it really does.
So you like running, fellas? I understood. John Cena likes to run to the ring, and Undertaker doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Nathan Frazier is going to be your number 1 entrance because he runs real fast to the ring.
I feel Oh, I literally can't wait to get up to the top here because I feel when we get up to the top, you're gonna be like,
Oh, I'm
"What
gonna have a
the
stroke.
heck?
It's gonna be awesome.
What
I'm
the
gonna have a
heck am I
stroke
doing?"
live on you. It's gonna be excellent. It's gonna be scraping my corpse off of this chair. My dog is gonna just find me tomorrow and just be like, "Dad."
Oh boy.
Oh man.
Number 7 for you.
I see that R on your list, and I am
You
I
aren't gonna
am a
guess. You
bit.
aren't gonna guess number 7.
I do have a guess. I don't know if it's the right guess, but I would have if you hadn't have shown me that honorable mentions list, I would have swore it was that man right there. Because the fact that the resident tribal chief, may I say Stan,
Yes.
in the audience does not have what has to be the most iconic entrance in the WWE in the last decade is a little bit mind-boggling to me, because when you think of an entrance that makes you think of power, makes you feel like someone special is about to come to the ring, that makes you have that feeling of, oh yeah, a big fight is about to go down. And that when you see that person and you hear that entrance theme and you see all of the pomp and circumstance and the pyro and the slow nature of that entrance that you apparently dislike, that I just learned, and you see all of that, and then the Paul Heyman, and then the Usos, and then the Sami Zayns, and the Solo Sikoas, and the everybody else that came along with it, you think of power in WWE, and you think of that entrance of
Yeah.
Roman Reigns, and it
Yeah.
defined the the pandemic era, it defined the Bloodline era, it's defined the Triple H era, and may I say, it has defined the best era in the history of wrestling, because I do think the Bloodline era and the Cody Rhodes era was more important and more impactful than the Attitude Era. And I know that's a crazy take. I'm well aware, because we all have to. It's like somebody saying, I personally think Michael Jordan is the GOAT, but it's also like somebody saying that LeBron's the GOAT, and everybody goes, no one will ever be better than Michael Jordan because he's Michael Jordan and he has to be the best, and that's the only way he can ever be, and I will never change. It's the same thing with the Attitude Era. It's like, no, the Attitude Era always has to be the best because it's the Attitude Era, and if anybody says anything else, you get, stabbed.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Stab me. I'm right here. Go ahead. I'm ready to go, because I don't think it is anymore. I think that Roman Reigns and the Bloodline defined the best era in the history of wrestling, and he did it with that entrance. So it's number 7 for me.
Yeah.
Now, can I take a guess before you say yours?
Yes, you can.
Ooh, I think it's the Macho Man, Randy Savage. Ooh, yeah. Oh, dang it! That would have been great if that was it. So that was the old. I would have been okay if it was that. So go ahead. Who's your number 7?
It's my only female on my list.
Rhea Ripley. Oh yes, I love it. I do. It's a great entrance.
Just
It's great.
this is my brutality. Just that
Sure.
rings out. She comes out. It's just, man. She is poised to be the top woman of WWE. She's been positioned there. She'll be there for a while, and it's just, you know, to me, when you're just talking about exuding power, like she exudes that power.
Sure.
She really does,
Yep.
and it's just, and yeah, there's the brutality phrase, and then she shows that with her outfit, the pyro, the music, and to me, that's just a fun package. I just can't, I just she was kind of a late addition to the top 10 for me. So I'm looking through this. I'm like, this doesn't feel right without at least one woman superstar on here. And started going through and started looking. I'm like, wait a second. I need to include Rhea here. I just have to. Um, it's just, yeah. I just the strength there is just, she comes across well with it. and just does well. And Roman, that was a hard leaving off for me. It was honestly hard. I felt that I would be more of a shill for him, to put him on than leaving him off, but it was definitely hard because I mean, he has defined so much. I mean, I talked countless times leading up to WrestleMania 39 and 40. It's like he's going all the way, man. He's going, 1600, 1700 days. We talk about that
Hmm.
at length for the longest time between our podcast, and it's, I was like, at least he's gonna break Hulk Hogan's record, which he didn't, which is fine. And I don't know. I think part of the reason I left him off too was, and maybe this was reason, or this is why I left Roman off individually. I feel like some of that entrance with that was such a bloodline entrance as well, and then it eventually became, it was his, and then it became the bloodline, and then it's now kind of back to his entrance. I think that's kind of where the struggle was for me too, of whether it's going to be on or off, just because he has gone through a couple of different entrances, um, as well. So it's like I feel like that's not only just his; it's also very bloodline centric. But it's become his again, and you can't deny the Roman Reigns chants that we have heard internationally and are starting to hear, um, in some of the domestic markets too. I think we even got a Reigns chant when he wasn't even in the ring, recently, if I remember correctly, which is like,
Possibly.
oh, that's so awesome, man. That it just, I'm okay. Here I go standing for him. Um, the fact that he had that reign, he literally picked up the company and put it on his shoulders during the pandemic. After some time away, after battling cancer, after going through the big dog and dog food camps with Baron Corbin, the fact that he picked up the company on his shoulders and got us through a couple years and turned heel through it all, was still loved but hated at the same time because, he's the heel. And then went away again and came back, and he's, being away has put him back into that tweener, but basically a face status again. Is just amazing. I mean, wrestling crowds are so weird and finicky about a lot of things anyway. It's kind of funny how that is, but um yeah, I know. I mean, just the fact that he's like that, and now that we're getting the chance, obviously the OTC chance, but just the Roman Reigns stuff too. They did a similar type of chant for someone else recently too. I think on this past week's Raw. I don't remember who they did it
They've
for.
done it for a whole lot of people. It's starting to kind of get on my nerves. They do it
Yeah,
for Cody.
yeah. They've done it
Uh,
for Cody. And Styles is a little bit different. They've done a lot for Styles, but they just recently did it for someone else. And I was like, maybe it was for might have been for AJ Lee, honestly.
it was. Yeah, it was AJ. AJ, they did it for Punk. It's just been
Yeah.
yeah. They're doing it for a
I
lot of people, and it's kind of driving me a little bit nuts.
when it gets to being more and more people, it's not as special for. But wrestling crowds just crack me up. They just do. I love it. You just never know
Hmm.
what you're gonna get from them. They cheer
Oh
and
yeah,
boo the same person within 30 seconds.
yeah. That is a thing. That definitely is a thing. So, and I do want to make a quick comment on Rhea Ripley here. So I think that already her entrance is probably the most iconic women's entrance ever. It's so iconic. Um, you can make an argument for Charlotte because Charlotte's is just it's so different, obviously, with all the pomp and the circumstance and all the pyro and the glitz and the glamour. Like, sure, you could
Yeah,
make that argument. And I tell you what, man, Stephanie Vaquer's got a hell of an entrance. It's pretty
yeah,
dang good. It's pretty
she
good.
does. She does. Yep.
And so like that's going to be up there. And there's some women in NXT that have fantastic entrances and entrance themes that are going to be coming up. But yeah, I think in 5 to 6 years, maybe even less, I think Rhea Ripley's going to make her way onto my short list of coolest entrances ever. I just don't think it's quite there yet.
Yeah.
With maybe some, I think it just needs, it's just missing that one extra push to
Hmm.
get it over that edge for me, but I don't hate it at all. Would I put it over the Undertaker? boy, I don't know, but that's kind of
You're gonna say that. You're gonna say that about
to
the
who's
rest
his
of
own.
these. Would I put her on the Undertaker? Well,
I
but
mean,
I don't blame you. It's okay. It's okay. I will. You mentioned Stephanie very quickly there. I did see something recently. I don't know how true this is, but supposedly when she got called up to the main roster, they actually tried to change her entrance or entrance music. Something they tried to change it a little
yep,
bit,
because they always like to ruin things.
but apparently
Thank God
Shawn
somebody put a
Michaels.
stop to that.
Yeah, apparently Shawn Michaels stepped up and said nope. She fought
Yeah,
for it and said
because
Shawn was like
I mean,
no.
like why it's one of those things where you just sit there and think like what would have made you feel, but would it have made you feel better to give her generic rock theme song 846? Would it have made you feel better with yourself,
47.
made you feel like you were important, made you feel like you got something accomplished that day that you could ruin a young lady's career?
Yeah.
Like, it's just so freaking dumb.
Yeah. Well, and
Like,
she's
if
and she's
somebody go ahead,
and
sorry,
she's
i'm gonna
internationally
have a i'm gonna have an
renowned.
explosion.
And I mean, when she shocked a lot of people for a couple episodes of Raw after WrestleMania, I mean, her entrance was obviously known right away. Because I mean, the crowd popped for it so well. So like that alone should have been like, because that was obviously in retrospect, especially in retrospect, I feel was done as like, does the main roster does the main roster crowds understand who this person is? Do they like her? They obviously do. They did. Um, so I mean, I think that was a factor in the quick call up for her. But it's like to me, it's like if there's a question after those, I was like, oh, should we change? It's like no, like your crowd just responded exactly how you wanted them to respond. Why would you even think of changing it? Just from that
Yeah, like
perspective.
it scares me to think like, and this is no pot shot at Jordan Grace, because I have seen Jordan Grace, and I've been in the same room as Jordan Grace, and she would pop my entire body like a watermelon. So please do not hurt me. But I mean, my God, like I can only imagine the horror of Stephanie Vaquer losing the NXT championship, then getting called up. And her theme song, does the horns thing, and we're all waiting for that. We're all ready for that awesome hit, and instead it just goes La Primera, and then it just sounds like Jordan Grace's theme song. Like the most generic thing you'll ever hear, and you're like, oh, they want me to kill someone today. Okay, like I can just imagine the horror that I would have felt in that moment of like, oh no, this girl's career is dead. I mean, it's dead. You took away one of the most awesome theme songs you could possibly have, and gave her that La Primera. It's so like and again, no offense to Jordan Grace's theme song, it sounds a little bit like her old one, so it does kind of work, but
No.
it's just not. It doesn't do anything for anybody. I don't know anybody that really likes that theme song, quite frankly. But who knows? Maybe it's something that we'll all get used to eventually. But anyway, yeah. So
No.
number 6.
Number 6. Who you got? Or I'm gonna reveal mine first.
Yeah, go ahead and do yours first, because I did the. Oh, okay. All right, got to be honest. Wasn't even on my long list. Not only was it not even on my long list, I didn't even think about putting it on my long list. I didn't give Seth Rollins' entrance a millisecond of thought. And here's why. I'm gonna try not to curse. It annoys the ever loving dog crap out of me. It is, without a doubt, the most annoying theme song I have ever heard in my life. I am in full agreement with CM Punk on this one, by the way, guys. This is how my feeling long before CM Punk started going, oh my God, this boring theme song, please. I can't take it anymore. Like it is an inside joke in my house that whenever Seth Rollins' theme song plays, I literally just get up and start like shaking my hips out of pure anger. Like, I hate it because I hate this theme song so much. Like, is it the worst theme song I've ever heard? No, it's kind of catchy. I understand. You have to pump in the woes into the actual song because it makes it sound like it's more over in the arenas than it really is. Like, it just makes me mad that they're like, and I want to tell you why. The specific reason as to why it makes me mad, because obviously just it being annoying is a bit generic. If you're a bad guy, you should not want the entire arena chanting your song. You should want everybody booing you, and they should hate you, and they should think that you're stupid, and you shouldn't want them to cheer you. But he just goes, everybody sing my song like a Teletubby. It makes me so mad. It makes me so mad, Dan. He's a bad guy. Why do you care if everybody goes, whoa? You should be like, oh, really? You're going to go, whoa, I'm going to shove this hot dog in your mouth because you're a fat little crap from Ontario or wherever the hell they are in that moment.
I think they're starting to dislike it a little bit more. But he hasn't always been a heel. He's never really been the face.
No, that's true. Yeah, he was a face for a while.
But I think so. I think that's part of it. Hear me out on this. To me, the Burn It Down has been a part of his entrance in some fashion or another in the last 4 or 5 years. If I remember correctly, it's been kind of a part of his entrance a little bit on and off. I feel like his entrance kind of just evolves every little while. It gets a little bit healer every time. You know, so every time Rollins kind of changes, his entrance kind of changes. So this is more of Seth and the Rollins character over the last 4, 5, 6 years than just like the actual entrance we have right now. To where that's where I'm kind of coming from on this for Seth, where it's like it's kind of evolving. It has in the past. I think the audience part of it is piped in or not some stuff. You know, I think that contributes to this for me. You know, I think the Burn It Down, is just I think it's a nice touch. I get why it's annoying. I totally feel you there. I didn't know you hated it so much. This is awesome to get your reaction to this even better than the rest. This might be the
theme song.
Of anything I would thought you would react to this list, I did not think you'd be this strongly to this one. So this is gonna get better as we go on. I love it. I love it. You know,
yeah.
I don't know. It's something that I feel
for the Undertaker. What are we doing, Dan? Like it's just gonna be like the like a thought that's just gonna pop into my head randomly as we go through. It's like the Undertaker's not even there. I don't even have to look forward to that.
Like I'm pretty sure I'm gonna redeem myself as we go on here. I'm pretty sure I'll redeem myself.
You know, okay, sure.
Who's your number 6? Because come on, we gotta get off this thing here.
What? Who's your number 6? What? Did you just ask for my number 6 entrant? What? The coolest? What? The best? What? The glass shatter? What? It's Stone Cold Steve Austin. What? Because Stone Cold Steve Austin, again, another person that the fact that he's not in your top 10 makes, I don't even know what it makes me want to do. It makes me want to do very, very bad things to very good people. I can't even give you a specific thing, Dan, because Stone Cold Steve Austin's entrance completely revolutionized professional wrestling. And that is an undeniable fact that not even the most stargent Stone Cold Steve Austin hater, which I don't even know if those exist at this point, can argue. I mean, genuinely, no one has made more money for a wrestling company than Stone Cold Steve Austin made for the WWE in the Attitude Era. Other than Roman Reigns. So, because that's just also an undeniable fact. I mean, literally the guy made the company billions and billions of dollars. So, Stone Cold Steve Austin, as an entrance itself, it's nothing all that special. There's no pyro. There's no anything to it. But It doesn't matter because that's exactly what the Stone Cold character was. That's what made it so special because it was so authentically him. He didn't need pyro. He didn't need any kind of crazy pomp and circumstance. He didn't need an entrance robe or an entrance outfit or an entrance nothing. He got, as soon as you hear that glass shatter, the whole world exploded. And some man in generic black trunks and a bald head stomped down to the ring, flicked off the crowd, said, let's go, and then beat the ever-living crap and stomped a mud hole in whatever stupid son of a gun, because I can't say the word that he would normally say on this podcast, was right in front of him. And it's the best. You can't have a top 10 entrance list, quite frankly, of any kind, unless the word worst is in there, without having Stone Cold Steve Austin, in my so humble or not so humble, depending on who you ask, opinion. Stone Cold Steve Austin has to be on there, but there's 5 entrances that are better than Stone Cold Steve Austin. I could not put him in my top 5, but he is my number 6.
Gotcha. I mean, I've said it. To me, it's kind of what you just said at the beginning. To me, it's the glass shatter and everything else. I don't deny the iconicness of that glass shatter. It's obviously up there as an iconic thing of the gong, but it's the package of the rest of it else for me that's kind of like there's other things I prefer. You know, there's other things I prefer.
Okay.
So
all right. You know how I feel about that, so I'm not going to say it again.
I do. Yeah, all right. Who's your number 5?
Number 5, and I am going to definitely take a swing and guess at your number 5 here once it does come up. So we talked about how this could be a list of from any company. And this is a perfect example of that because this is not a WWE entrance, but it is one of the most iconic, crazy, rambunctious, psychotic entrances of all time. It defined an era of an entire wrestling company, and it's one of the most famous songs in history, and that would be Enter Sandman in ECW. You want to talk about ECW? You want to talk about defining a company? Sandman and his entrance did that. When Enter Sandman by Metallica would blast through the speakers, which Paul Heyman has gone on record, by the way, saying he never had the rights to play Enter Sandman or use Enter Sandman, but he didn't care because they were extreme, and so it didn't matter, so they could just do whatever they wanted. So when Enter Sandman would hit, and that psycho wielding a kendo stick appeared at the top of the stage and the top of the ramp in the crowd and just looked upon all those psychotic ECW fans just looking for violence, and he would smash a beer can against his head to the rhythm of Enter Sandman and start bleeding down his face before he even got to the ring, and people would cling to him. Their arms would just be grabbing at Sandman like he was some sort of extreme psychotic messiah that was ready to murder anybody in the ring that was about to face him. That is what ECW was all about. For the good, for the bad, it didn't matter. That is ECW to me. And Sandman, by the way, again, Enter Sandman is one of my favorite songs of all time, with or without ECW. It's a fantastic song. And I mean, if Dan, I don't know how familiar you are with the ECW days. If you've even seen Sandman's entrance, and that's totally okay, which is why I'm going to forgive you for not having this anywhere because you may just not be familiar with it. So I'm going to give you a mulligan because I'm a nice guy at the end of the day. Please go watch Sandman's entrance because it is the craziest thing you will ever see. He's like the Shield back in the day. He starts at the top of the crowd, and he just stands there with a kendo stick as they're grabbing and pulling on his shirt because they want a piece of Sandman, and he just bashes a full beer can into his head and starts bleeding all over the place, and he's just drinking it, and it's just it is ECW. It just is. That is what ECW is. And there's some other ones. Walk by Pantera, Rob Van Dam's theme song, absolutely iconic, fantastic. And obviously like Sabu, you got all the legends. Tommy Dreamer, Raven. Raven was on my long list. Oh my God, was that a hard cut for me? Raven is amazing. But yes, yeah, I had to have Sandman. It is just too. It literally defined an entire wrestling promotion, and one of the most influential wrestling promotions in history was defined in a large part by that entrance. So I had to include it.
Gotcha, yeah. No, I understand. Yeah, the history of ECW. Yeah, that's why it's I think I've started to understand the impact that it's had in recent years. But yeah, that's actually one thing I should have went down that road a little bit more to, and I might have actually had him on here. But it
And
definitely does
one
sound like it
last.
defined the wrestling promotion.
Oh yeah.
That's how bad, how
Oh yeah.
crazy it was.
Oh yeah. And by the way, one last thing. Um, Before it was cool, and before we all started doing it with Randy Orton and with a few others and Cody Rhodes and some others, the entire crowd would sing "Enter Sandman" to Sandman coming down the crowd. Sleep with one eye open. Oh crap! Now I'm forgetting the second line. Holding your pillows tight or something like that. Keeping your pillows tight. Exit light. Just the whole arena. We're off to Never Neverland. It is, the whole arena would be rocking. I mean, it's so good. You have to look it up. It's amazing. Oh, I watch it sometimes when I need like an adrenaline rush. Like, it's just so good. Like, it just gets you fired up, and it's psychotic. It's crazy. Like, why would anybody give themselves 3 concussions a night bashing full beer cans into their head and start bleeding down the it's crazy. It's horrible. Like, you shouldn't do that. And also, he would be drunk by the time he got to the ring. He'd still have to wrestle for 20 minutes, right? Like, just not good. But
Not good.
If that's not ECW, I don't know what is. That's the point.
All right, you said you wanted to take a guess at my number 5 here, so guess away.
I did. I think I've actually already said his name in the last couple of minutes, Dan. I think you may have. Surprisingly, not on my list, by the way. He was on my long list, but he did not make the cut. And that is the American Nightmare. And I do not blame you. I do not blame you one bit. I do not blame you one bit. Let me tell you why I didn't have him on my list.
Go for it.
Because obviously you know how much I love Cody Rhodes and his entrance. I love everything about it. So I'm not going to say anything bad. As much as I love his entrance with the pomp and the circumstance, and oh my goodness, like it's just a whole lot. The title of this list is Coolest Entrances Ever. I don't know how cool Cody Rhodes' entrance is, quite frankly. I think it's iconic. I think it's catchy. I think it defines his character. But I don't think it's like super cool and super edgy and like stands out in a crowd like, man, that's pretty cool. Like, there's some entrances that he's done where he comes up in the Cody Vader with that mask and stuff. That's pretty freaking cool. But that's a one-off WrestleMania entrance. We're not counting those. I'm just talking about the generic entrance with the fog and the pyro and all that. It's a lot, but I don't know if it's cool, in my opinion. As if I, a 28-year-old white, gross 4 out of 10 married man, knows what cool is, by the way. Isn't that hilarious? So, but I don't have any problem with it being on your list, because if you have a completely different definition of cool or whatever, this is a bananas entrance. It's just got everything. So I am. Go ahead. Floor is yours.
I mean, everything you said. The phrase at the beginning. There's more than one royal family. And that was obviously, I think kind of a stab while he was more on the independent AEW stuff, and they kept it. The whoa didn't ever really catch on until he came to WWE. I think that's a little notch. I think that's an interesting thing through that. It does tickle my fancy for cool. It really does.
Sure.
Like I said, I'm a sucker for guitar riffs, and just how they're worked in with a lot of things. And it's, when I was thinking of this list, I was like, I you know I had a feeling Cody was going to be on my list somewhere. I kind of surprised he ended up in my top five, but I kind of look at five on down what we can see currently on my list as so many interchangeable on different things, and I really see a difference in where I'm going to go with my top four versus the rest of this list, where I feel you can interchange so many different ones, from five
Mhm.
all the way through 25 or whatever. And but Cody kind of just stands out to me more of just that, and again, is that more of a recency bias? Probably, but it's just, even with looking back and kind of where I'm going with everything, yeah, I couldn't not put him on my list.
Fair enough. Again, I don't hate it at all. I assumed you didn't think I would hate it. I was probably like, it's probably going to be safe, fuck with Cody. For Tyler, I do have to point this out though because it is just so, gosh darn funny. The guy who for years came to me and said, "Hey, I just want you to know, Roman's gonna beat Cody, and you're just gonna have to learn to deal with the sadness that Cody will never make it." This is the guy right here. Dan the man kept saying that to me, that Roman was always going to win. And yet, when we come to coolest entrances of all time, Cody is in your top five and Roman Reigns is nowhere to be found. And yet me,
I've explained
I'm a
it.
man of the
I've
I'm a
explained
man of
it.
the people. I'm a man of the
Oh,
people.
now
I
you're a
put
man of the
Roman
people.
on my list and I did not have Cody on my
Now you're a man of
list.
the people. Okay. Okay.
Oh, Dan, I've always been a man of the people. You're just discovering it.
Uh-huh.
Look at how I'm dressed. I'm dressed like I'm a man for the people. I talk like I'm a man for the people. I act like I'm a man for the people. I am a man for the people. Dan. Dan, you may be Dan the man, but I am Tyler the man for the people. What? I don't know what's happening, Dan. I'm losing my mind.
Yeah, you kind of are. And people wonder why I don't have catering anymore for you.
Yeah. It's just, I'm just, I would just spend 8 hours eating and just cutting promos. It's just what I would be doing.
All right, I can't wait to see what our top four slots have here.
Yeah,
Do you
top
want to?
four, man. I'm exciting. Or I'm exciting. I'm exciting. I'm a man of the people, and I am exciting. Gosh darn it, I'm gonna make sure you know it. Oh Lord, I'm losing it. Okay, what is going? What's happening?
Number four. Who's going first here?
Oh, I believe you are because I think we're doing like a snake order
Yeah,
kind of
that's
thing.
true. Number four. It's time to play the game.
Yeah, that was okay. So I'm gonna let you know that was my number 15. I said at the beginning that I had it down to 15 and I
Mm-hmm.
cut one and then I left the other four as honorable mentions. That was the one I cut.
Hmm.
Was
Interesting.
Triple H.
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but go ahead.
I mean, it's just, I don't know. I feel like if we don't have him to play foil to so many people, you know,
Oh, for sure.
but it's to me, it's that entrance is just, I don't know. There's just something about it. That's hard to explain. Again,
Mm-hmm.
sucker for like for guitar, for guitars and stuff like that. But it's just the it's the laugh, the maniacal laugh, the time to play. There were entrances where they would lead into that with King of Kings for him, with his character, which is on the teetering edge of how much I actually like that phrase and stuff with him and stuff. But
Yeah.
but the time to play the game and this, just the graveliness of that, and just he just had to stand there and just walk out, and it's like, oh boy, it's on. It is on. It's just, kind of how you were talking about Roman and that power exuded, like, Triple H, I felt, had that in spades just as much, well before a
Yep.
lot of other guys did. And it's just, to me, that's one of the undeniable, where he was on my short list early, and I just, to me again, 5 on down, I have certain reasons, but I feel like for me, like H is just up there, and it's just, it's just I'm always enthralled. I'm always sucked in every time his entrance starts. Always sucked in. Like honestly, I almost want to do a top 10 Triple H WrestleMania entrance list with you after this episode.
I mean, maybe if there's 10 iconic ones, then perhaps we could pull them out. That could work. But yeah, no, I don't blame you. Again, that I have no problem with it. That was a really, again, I mean, it's top 15 for me. Like, I'm not saying that I don't like the entrance. I'm not saying I don't think it's a cool entrance. I'm not saying any of that. It just was one of those things where, I looked at it and I said, man, there's so many entrances that I just prefer. I prefer Batista's entrance. I think Batista's entrance is cooler than Triple H's. I can't put it above Kane. I can't put it above, like, just a lot of those. Like I just really, I couldn't justify. That was one that I couldn't justify putting that ahead of a top, like all the ones in front of it. Like there was just no justification for me to put it ahead of any of those to me. So again, but I have no problem with it being at 4 whatsoever.
Gotcha. All right, give it to me. Who's your number 4?
Goldberg. Goldberg. Go.
It's Goldberg. So it's Goldberg. Yeah. So listen, when you think of WCW and iconic entrances, sure, you may think of Hulk Hogan. Maybe you think of Sting, which, by the way, was on my honorable mentions list. So don't yell at me because it's on there. But I think of Goldberg. I think of Goldberg. I think of the WWE entrance of Goldberg, which is basically a carbon copy of his WCW entrance. So really, there's not much difference outside of the song is slightly different. It was so iconic that even Vince McMahon didn't change it. Vince McMahon, by the way, I don't know if anybody's aware, changed all of the entrances forever. So he didn't change Goldberg's entrance because he couldn't change Goldberg's entrance. Because as much as I talk about Stone Cold Steve Austin's entrance and how perfect it was for his character, there may be no entrance greater for a character, more perfect for a character than Goldberg's entrance is for Goldberg, because you have to put the full picture into perspective. Goldberg was undefeated for hundreds of matches, or at least over 100 matches, although there's some dispute as to if that's actually true, but whatever, let's just assume. Over 100 matches. For every single one of those matches, outside of a couple, the music hit, the drums and the marching and the trumpets and the everything, and some security guard would knock on his locker room door. You'd hear bang, 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 and then the door would open and he'd be bleeding from the forehead because he'd be banging his forehead against the dang door, and he'd walk out to the ring surrounded by security, because if anybody went near him, he would have just murdered them, most likely. That's probably the reason why he was surrounded by security. And then all the pyro and the screaming and the air boxing and the kickboxing with all the pyro going off. Like, you just knew he was going to, I'm sorry, I don't know how else to say this, Dan. He's going to kick someone's ass. He's going to come down. He's going to hit a spear. He's going to hit a jackhammer. He's going to go home. And there's nothing anybody could do about it. You talk about iconic. Goldberg's entrance is arguably the most iconic entrance of the 90s. And I am including Stone Cold Steve Austin's entrance in there, which is how impactful that entrance was. And by the way, Dan, the reason why I asked you to make this list,
Yes.
Goldberg retiring the reason why I asked you to make this list.
Yeah.
Because Goldberg, and he retired.
Right.
And I was like, damn, that entrance is so iconic. I want to make a list. I want to see where he actually lands on my list.
Yeah.
And he's in the top 5. He's at number 4.
Yeah. No, that was a hard one for me. He was in and out of my list a few times. Because to me, there's something about the moment where it's like, I don't know, parts of it is just cheesy. Some of it does it for me. Some of it doesn't do it for me. It might have, that was a tough one, honestly, for me. He was on and off my list a few times because it's unique for sure. There are there's no one really that's ever tried to copy that. Nothing.
Nobody
similar.
ever could.
Yeah, nobody ever could. Or should have, really, when it comes down to it. I don't, honestly, I can never really put my finger on why I didn't quite put on my list. And honestly, the way you just framed it, I'm kind of like, I probably should have had him on my list. That's, the way you just kind of framed it and kind of just brought me back to that moment where it's maybe not as, a couple of those moments aren't as cheesy as I think. And maybe that's why I didn't, but now I'm looking at my list right now. I'm like, yeah, I probably should have put him over a couple other guys here. Probably should.
I mean, fair enough. And I just point you to 2. Obviously I could point you to 3. I could point you to the entrance where he comes out in Atlanta before he beat Hulk Hogan for the WCW championship. That entrance alone is, you can literally feel they were saying like this place is shaking. Like you could feel the anticipation of like, oh, Hulk Hogan's reign of terror is going to be over. And it's going to be because of the guy who's from Atlanta. And it's going to be because of Goldberg. And you could feel that arena shaking when Hulk Hogan came out because they're like ready for Goldberg. But unlike the glass shatter, unlike any other entrance ever, you have to wait. The music hits, and then it's maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes before he actually comes out. And he comes out of that weird like burst of pyro, and he blows the smoke out of his mouth like a fire-breathing dragon that's just about to devour everyone in front of him. Because think about it, his entrance sometimes would last 3 to 5 minutes, and the match would last 90 seconds. That's what made it so special, because you get that whole like, whoever that guy is dead. As soon as that guy gets here, in 20 minutes, he's taken a while. This is a boy howdy. Oh, he's dead. Like, like it's just like that's literally how it went. That's why nobody could copy it, because nobody's going to have a career like Goldberg where it's like, oh yeah, he can go against anybody and beat them in 90 seconds. And I point you to these 2. When he comes out at SummerSlam 2003 in the Elimination Chamber, when all the pods are full and it's just Goldberg, and he comes out and he's just airboxing, and you can feel, now he didn't end up winning the title that night because there's no justice in the world and Triple H hates everybody, but you could, again, it was like that moment in Atlanta in WCW. The whole fan base could feel, this is Goldberg's night. He's going to wreck everybody in there. And he did, until he got to Triple H, because again, there's no justice in the world. But that doesn't take away from how the entrance felt. Like, even to this day, when I rewatch it, it's one of my favorite matches ever. I still rewatch it. I still feel that gravitas of, oh, Goldberg's going to kill everybody. He's going to kill everybody. And then, let me ask you this question. This is the final point I'll say about Goldberg. How many entrances can somebody have at 55 years old, walking out for their first fight in 12 years against Brock Lesnar? And as soon as he comes out of that smoke and does all that, your first thought is, he's going to kick Brock Lesnar's ass. Only one, and that's Goldberg. And it's because, in large part, because of that entrance. Like, he walks, it's the first time you've seen him without a shirt in like 12 years. We have no idea what the heck he looks like. He obviously looks like he's in pretty good shape, but we don't really know. And then he comes out of that locker room, and you get to see him at 55 just chiseled out of stone, looking like he's ready to one last spear, one last jackhammer, one last butt kicking. I can only have a couple of those, so I'm going to say butt kicking that time. And, like, you just sit there and go, oh, Brock Lesnar's going to die. How many people, just off an entrance alone, are you going to go, oh, Brock Lesnar's going to die? I can't name one. I can. Goldberg.
Yeah.
That's the only one, and it's because of the entrance. That's my final. I rest my case.
I think what I've learned about myself is I hate the long, drawn-out entrances, and I love the guitar cuts.
Apparently, but and I'm more than happy to wait for awesome. I don't want to wait for garbage. And by the way, I didn't say this during the Rhea Ripley thing. There is a woman's entrance that I think could have been just as iconic, if not more iconic, had her time in the company not been very, very cut short due to injury and then getting sent back down to NXT. And that would have been Ember Moon. I mean, Ember Moon's entrance back in the day in NXT, kind of like rising up out of the stage with that awesome music, just so good. And you know, the glow in the dark, or not the glow in the dark, but the white contacts and stuff, and her eyes and the facial expressions of like a feral wolf coming out of a full moon. I mean, that was the point, I'm pretty sure, of the entrance, right? Like, that's what it looked like. She was looking like a feral wolf about ready to attack her prey in the ring, and it just was awesome. Could have been the most iconic women's entrance of all time. It's probably my favorite women's entrance of all time outside of Rhea Ripley. And unfortunately, you just didn't get to see it very often because, you know, WWE, again, there's no justice in the world. But she's doing pretty well over in AEW and Ring of Honor. So Athena, I believe is her name now. So yeah, she's doing really well. And I hope that she continues to do really well because she's really, really good. Not the best at cutting promos still. So, you know, that's a problem. But other than that, she's great.
All right. After your drink of water there, who is your number 3 here?
My number 3 and my number 2 were really hard. I knew that they were my number 3 and my number 2. I just didn't know which was going to be which. Because both of these entrances mean a lot to me. And both of these entrances are so undeniably great. And based on your list and those letters, there is a chance that we could matchy. So we'll see. Maybe not. Maybe you will. I don't know. Let's find out. It is without a doubt the greatest NXT entrance of all time. It is without a doubt one of the greatest WWE entrances of all time. And it is probably my favorite entrance of all time, but it is not number 1 on the cool entrance list. It is, of course, the Demon, Finn Balor. There is no entrance that reignited my love for professional wrestling more than the Demon, Finn Balor, when 2014, 2015, 2016, that era, I did not like professional wrestling for a lot of that time. I didn't like it because it just felt like it was John Cena and it was Randy Orton and it was, you know, all of my favorites from when I was a kid were retiring or retired, like Shawn Michaels and Triple H and The Undertaker and all of these, or The Undertaker was really only wrestling like once a year and Triple H was kind of only wrestling like once a year up until 2016. He started wrestling a little more, but there wasn't just a whole lot going on. And there wasn't really much of a mid-card at that point because Vince, again, there's no justice in the world. And so what did I have, Dan? I had this little rose that sprung up from this barren wasteland of a garden called NXT. And then when he came out against the Ascension with Hideo Itami as his tag team partner, and he said, I'm going to show you something that none of you have ever seen before. And he came out with that righteous music that didn't make a lot of sense for his character when he was just normal. And we all were kind of like, man, that entrance is really cool. But boy, that's just a real skinny, pasty white dude, and it just kind of doesn't match. I mean, I'm just being honest. It didn't really match.
Mm-hmm.
And then he came out as the demon, and it all made sense. It all clicked. It all made sense. And we're like, oh, okay, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life, and it's not close. Like, truly, at that time, it was. And, I mean, they were chanting Holy SHIT while he was still standing on the ramp. His entrance had lasted like 8 seconds, and they were already chanting it at Full Sail University. Like, just blowing everyone's mind. They're like, are you kidding me? This is the greatest thing ever. And by the way, the first demon entrance isn't even that good compared to the rest of them, compared to all the other one-offs. When he came out as Jack the Ripper, when he came out with the Fiend Bray, or not the Fiend Bray Wyatt, but, you know, the Bray Wyatt, he's got the whole world in his hands with and he came out in the orange and the stuff with the Judgment Day with the purple, and he came out with a chainsaw. Like, the first one sucks compared to the other ones, and it still was the coolest thing we'd ever seen. So there is no entrance that reinvigorated my love for professional wrestling, and no character that actually made me feel connected to professional wrestling than the Demon, and I'll tell you why. At the time, in 2014, 15, 16, I was in high school. I was just starting to actually find my footing as a baseball player. I was starting to get really good. 2014 was like the best year of my career. 2015 was actually probably the actual best year of my career. We just didn't go as far in the tournaments and stuff, so we didn't win as many games. And then 2016 was obviously senior year of high school. So I was really starting to come into my own. As I felt like as a man, I felt like figuring out who I was. And there was two sides of me. There was the guy that you saw in the classroom, and then there was the guy you got when you handed me the ball. And no character made me feel like they understood me than Finn Balor and the Demon, because I felt like when I stepped out on that mound, I put that body paint on, brother. And I was ready to kill anybody in front of me. And you can agree with that, disagree with that, say that's not Christian, say that's whatever you want. That's totally fine. I was 16. Please give me some grace. But, like, that's how I felt. I felt like, oh, that's me. That's my life.
That's cool.
And that entrance, again, it's as iconic as it gets in professional wrestling history. So much so that no matter what happens to that character, no matter how many times it loses in stupid fashion because of apparently, literally God at one point, no matter how many times he gets pinned by Edge in Hell in a Cell for reasons no one comprehends, no matter how much damage they do to that character, there's always going to be a segment of the population that says, bring it back just one more time because I just want to see it. Mm-hmm. And my final point, it is one of my life's major regrets that I've never gotten to see that entrance live in person. Mm. I have seen Finn Balor wrestle at several different live events and Raws and SmackDowns and even a pay-per-view. I got to see AJ Styles versus Finn Balor at a pay-per-view. I'm a lucky man, but I never got to see the Demon. And that's one of my life's biggest regrets, that I never got to be in that arena to feel that. And I never got to go to a takeover. Like, those are the two biggest regrets that I've had in my life. And honestly, for a couple of years, they kind of coincided with one another. If there was a takeover, there was a Demon. Like, that's just kind of how it went. And I never got to go. I never got to do it. So that's one of my regrets. But yeah, the Demon Finn Balor, I could sit here for another hour and a half and go into it. I will not do that to you or the fans.
I'm honestly surprised this isn't your number one. I had a feeling it was going to be high on your list. Just because I know a little bit. I didn't know. I don't think even that deep, like how much you like Finn and how much you like the Demon character. How much, you know, we've had talks on and off the podcast, especially off, you know, how much you I like Finn Balor. And that
if we're
Demon
talking
entrance.
My favorite entrances of all time, this is the clear number one, and it's not even close. Mm-hmm. I am literally doing this list the way it was brought. Coolest entrances ever. And I think there are still two somehow that are cooler. So that it's just the way it is. But my favorite, it's number one, the Demon, and then everything else on planet Earth is 8 steps down.
Yep.
So you're absolutely right.
There's just something about
journalist.
Yes. There is something about the music, the crawling out the way he does, the fog that just the aura surrounds that is just wow. It's just wow. I get it. I totally get it.
Are we gonna match?
Are we? I don't know. My number 3 is 6 letters: Sierra Hotel India Echo Lima
Oh, the
Delta.
Shield. They were on my long list. They did not. They obviously didn't make the top
So
10.
Roman does
But
appear on my list, but he appears with the Shield, not by
yeah, I mean,
himself.
yeah. All right. I guess we can count it. Sure. Why not?
So
Seth twice? You blasphemer! Seth twice? No Undertaker, I'm gonna lose it. Seth twice. Give me a break.
the Shield is on here because of Roman and Dean, not Seth. Yeah, it's
just screw Seth in this whole thing.
I mean,
Seth's part in this sucked, but the rest of it is definitely top 3 ever.
I mean,
huh?
I don't know. Whatever. I'm a weird wrestling fan.
Ahead,
I'm a weird wrestling fan, man. You know this.
Aren't we all? Dude, we all are. It's okay.
We all are. We all have our varying degrees. I don't know. It's actually interesting when you mentioned the Sandman. He'd come down from the crowd. I was kind of like, okay, because when I was thinking of the Shield, I was like, surely they're not the first or the only to come down from the crowd from that, but there's just something that's just, the aura of the trio of them, just, they're hounds of justice. They were just there to wreak havoc, and they did, but and just like it's just, to me it's this whatever everything that surrounded them. It didn't have, to me, this is an entrance that doesn't have anything to really do with the music. It's the call out. It's this coming down to the stands. It's the outfits, just how the unity they had for the little bit of time they had unity on the main roster. It's just a lot of those factors that just put this up here for me. It was one of the few that I didn't really move when I started putting my list together. It was just something that just stood out to me, and I honestly, one of those I can't truly put a finger on why it stood out to me, but it just stood out to me when I was thinking about different people, different groups, what was done, what's been done, and it was just really stood out, and I was like, I need to include it on my list. I have 2 that are above it. But I had to include the Shield on my list here.
Sure. So I believe, so obviously I'm going back in the Wayback Machine here now, but I believe they were in my top 20, maybe top 25. I can't remember because obviously, once I kind of got down to that 25 to 20, it kind of gets murky.
Yeah.
I don't remember where things got cut. I know I remember there was a point where I had to cut down more, and I had to watch back a bunch of entrances to like cut some to see like what, and the Shield was one of the entrances that I watched. So I know it was at the very least in my top 25. I'm positive of that. I just don't remember if it got down to my final 20 or not. I don't know. But yeah, no, I again, I gotta be honest. I don't know if I'd put it this high. I think this is a bit high personally. But again, given some of the other ones below, like I wouldn't put any of the ones below it above it, other than like maybe Triple H. Like I might put Triple H above it, I would say, but compared to the ones you have below it, it's where it should be above the rest, in my opinion. But yeah, 3 ever to me is a bit high. But again, it's a great entrance. I had it in my top 20 or top 25, whatever it was, for a reason. It's great. Yeah. Iconic. And again, that's why I put Sandman. Like, imagine the Shield entrance, but everybody's singing all the songs and then bashing their heads with beer cans. It's just the best.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's pretty great. Yeah, you got to watch it at some point.
I will have to. I'll have to send me a link if nothing else. Part of the reason too, Shield was one of my entry points back into wrestling. Really, it was more of kind of right around the time of like right before the breakup of the Shield and everything. But it was one of those that was that was one of the tipping points for me kind of getting back into it, one of the influencing factors, and that's part of the reason I have them a little bit higher too. It's just, they were there when I was like, "Hey, I haven't watched this forever. What's it like nowadays?" And it's like, "Oh, that's an interesting trio." And it's like you could tell they were being positioned, obviously storylines and stuff, but we're just talking entrances here. But I felt like the presentation as a whole coming down like that was just like, these are guys you're not gonna want to mess with.
Yeah, no, it certainly had a very unique feel to any other entrance that probably has ever been done. There's not really a group that I can think of that came through the crowd, and just had their way with the entire roster for that long. And again, even their in-ring style was so different than what WWE fans were used to at that point, because especially Seth wrestled like he was in Ring of Honor. I mean, he wrestled a style like he was in Ring of Honor and just brought it to the WWE stage, which is pretty much what he said that he did at that point.
Mhm.
And they've said, like, we were trying to drag this company kicking and screaming into a new era where there's more in-ring action. And at the beginning, not a lot of people wanted to wrestle them because they just looked at them as guys that, like, oh, these guys are wrestling a whole different style. They're there. These guys are bums. They're not going to do anything. And then all of a sudden, they started having really great matches. And everybody kind of started to like them. And they started to pull in better ratings and sell a lot of merch. And everybody was like, oh, no, now I want to work with you now. Please split them. I want to work with them now.
And 10 years later,
And yeah, and a decade later,
which is
we still can't get rid of these crazy people.
which is just
they are
crazy to
on
me
my
too.
TV screen. Whoa, all day long. It drives me nuts.
But as an aside,
And the two good ones aren't even on TV. They're just doing whatever they want. And, one guy's off beating up other people's wives or whatever the heck he's doing. And then the other one, it gets injured every 18 seconds because, he has to shoot movies or be more handsome or whatever the heck he's doing. I don't know. Get an 11th ab. I don't know, whatever he's working on.
no, it's 13th.
It's ridiculous.
13th.
Oh, is he on 30? Yeah, see, it's like iPhones. They just keep coming out with new ones every year. I get lost with how many there are. I don't know. Somebody literally said, what are we on, iPhone 16 now? And I said, I think so. And the guy looked at me and he's like, no. Like another kid turned to me, he's like, no, we're not on 16. And I'm like, I don't freaking know. I don't even have an iPhone. I have an Android, okay? I'm old. I'm cranky. It's 6 a.m. I want to go to bed. Just anyway. But yeah, no.
Speaking of bed,
the Shield, sure.
And then at number 2, we finally, I think, have our first shared person on the list.
Oh yeah, we haven't even had the same person anywhere on the list, which is just wild to me.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, man. I mean, I could sit here and talk for another hour and a half. So I'll let you say your piece, but yeah, I have zero problem with this in any way, shape, or form.
There were, when I started, like, okay, deep diving into a bunch of entrances, there were 2, and they're my 1 and 2, that stood out to me and that I kept constantly going back to with my lists, with the things that I liked, I didn't like. And I'm like, you can't top this aura. There's just no way to top this aura from Balor outside of one other person. And I couldn't find something that was like enthralled me from beginning to end, and just like, what is this? Wow, this is cool. But what is this? But wow, it's cool. There was very few things I had a reaction like that to, and it's just nothing could usurp the number 1 and number 2 spot for me. As much as I changed stuff and took stuff on and off, like, the Demon Finn Balor, you obviously have a more big attachment to him. Have seen the Demon probably more than, matches. I wasn't really watching NXT when he was in NXT. I'm more familiar with him on the main roster, which has definitely been a very mixed bag of the Demon persona. But it's, there's just something about it that just is like, wow, this is something that I get why it's special. only used in certain times. I feel we need this back sooner than later. I'm hoping. Oh, I just remember. I just forgot the kind of the embodiment of the Demon Finn Balor down in AAA. Oh, I can't remember the name of the
Demonito, the
Demonito.
puppet.
Yeah, I'm like, is this a sign of things to come? Hopefully, I
I
love that.
don't know, but it's just the best.
I think that's great that they've gone that route with that in AAA because
I almost fell out of I've almost fell out of bed when they did the spot where Lieska jumps through he threw him through the middle ropes and hits the Demonito and he drops him like he did a suicide dive.
yes.
How did they nail that perfectly? That's
They did that
so
so
ridiculous.
well.
These are puppets.
And
They're made of
Demonito
paper.
just Demonito just popping up outside of the apron. It's like, hi. Like,
just
hey,
sorry.
No.
No, you're gonna hurt yourself. Please go back. Like it's just like treating him like a baby. Like it's just like a 4-year-old that just wandered out of Chuck E. Cheese into the adults room, going, "Where's my dad?" Like it's just, nobody get out. We're drinking beer in here. You'll get drunk. Dude, just.
So I hope that's a sign of
Triple
things
A's
to come.
awesome.
Hopefully with the Demon Persona, maybe not, but man, we need this at least another time or two before Finn's like, I'm good, I'm done. It's. When's the last time we saw him? Actually, where we saw this persona?
WrestleMania against Edge. That was the last time.
Yeah. That's a shame. But yeah, number 2, Demon Finn Balor. And I'm actually looking at this is weird. Yeah, I'm going to try to adjust something here. Apparently, my little screen something on my screen is cutting off, but it says on the screen it says Demon Finn that's Demon Finn Balor here. That's really weird.
Yeah, it looks fine to me.
Okay, well, that's just must be something that I'm seeing. Anyway, Demon Finn Balor number 2. Who is your number 2 slots on coolest entrances?
Again, this was I will say it again. This was a really tough call because I knew what my number 2 and my number 3 were going to be. I just didn't know which order they were going to be in. And as much as I love the Demon and love Finn Balor, there is one entrance, and I kind of alluded to this. I said at the time I saw the Demon for the first time, I said this is the coolest thing that I have ever seen, and it's just amazing. It's the best entrance I've ever seen, my favorite entrance I've ever seen. There is one entrance that has happened since then that has somehow topped it, and let's cast our minds back. I mean, it's going to be a big mystery. Cast our minds back to SummerSlam 2019. Not a great year for wrestling, by the way. Really bad year for wrestling, if I have to be honest. Oh, boy. I am sitting on my couch in my living room at my parents' house. Next to me is my girlfriend, who is now my wife, Tracy. We had just started dating, been dating for about a year. It's going well. On the other side of my couch is one of my friends, Travis. We are watching SummerSlam. Finn Balor comes down to the ring, dressed in all white. And I'm like, man, I'm really curious as to what's about to happen in this match. And then the coolest entrance I have seen in decades happens, and that would be The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. There is no entrance that not only takes love from an entrance that we already were in love with, which is Bray Wyatt's cult leader entrance, which, based on your number 1, I have a feeling that's probably where you're going with that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you have Batista at number 1. I don't friggin' know. But it might be friggin' Braun Breaker, knowing your crazy list. But could be Bailey. I don't know. Like it could be anybody. It could be Bronson Reed. You might just really like the big woofer. I don't know. Anyway, so not only takes elements from an entrance that we already liked, but had a remix of the song that we loved that sounded more horror and terror and just this like mass serial killer vibe. Not serial killer like Ted Bundy, but serial killer like Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers. And he carried a lantern of his own severed head to the ring. And I looked at my eyes are glued to the screen. My mouth is agape. And my girlfriend, now my wife, Tracy, says, I don't know what's going on. I don't like this. Because it was truly terrifying to see this. Terrifying to witness how dark this man had gone in this entrance. And I said out loud, I have no idea what I'm seeing, but I don't think I've ever been more in love. Because it was everything you could have ever asked out of a character, out of an entrance, out of an introduction. It was literally an introduction to The Fiend outside of the one attack he had on Finn Balor. It was an introduction. What would The Fiend be? What would Bray Wyatt's next chapter in his career? Can they somehow save this man's career? Because they almost destroyed it. Because the cult leader had flamed out completely. Completely. His career was on its last legs. And that one entrance not only saved his career, not only saved his character, it saved his life. And it saved his legacy. So that now, unfortunately, we no longer have Bray Wyatt in this world. And that is a cruel, cruel, cruel thing that he was taken from us. So young. But we have the legacy that The Fiend left. We have the legacy that Bray Wyatt left. And I argue the reason why I put this just ahead of Finn Balor's entrance is because I would argue that without that entrance at SummerSlam, without The Fiend, Bray Wyatt's death may have been tragic and sad, but we wouldn't have cared so much. Because without that second rebirth of his career, we wouldn't have fully appreciated Bray Wyatt. It would have just been another story of a wrestler that, you know, flamed out. In WWE, it happens all the time. But it was that second run that made us all appreciate the mind, appreciate the creativity, and appreciate the dedication that Bray Wyatt has. That only he had, by the way. There's no other person in the history of the business that had that kind of creative mind that Bray Wyatt did. So I put it at number 2 because I am so appreciative of what that entrance meant. The memories that it still burns. It's still burn. Dude, you know how many times I've been hit in the head. I have a hard time remembering a lot of things. That night will be remembered probably for the rest of my life because it stood out to me that much. And it was with 2 people that I care about deeply as well that were there to witness it. Does my wife like characters like that? No, absolutely not. She hates that dark stuff, and that's fine. But my gosh, when I saw that character, I said, oh, he's instantly, you knew this is the greatest thing in wrestling right now. And it's been 2 minutes. I haven't seen him do a move, and I don't need to see him do a move. This is the best thing that wrestling has. Please, for the love of God, Vince, don't screw it up. Oh, it only took him 4 months. Again, because there's no justice in this world. But man, I could again sit here for another hour and a half and talk about this entrance, but it is the second coolest entrance I have ever seen in my entire life. And unless you have anything to add, shall we move on to number 1?
I say we move on to number 1. Do you want the honors to go first?
I that would be nice. Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you doing this list.
Yes.
I appreciate you being willing to step a little bit out of your comfort zone. I know that this is not necessarily your regular form of content or the content you consume or enjoy on a regular basis. So I do appreciate you being willing to do this. And hopefully we can do more lists like this. If you enjoy it, I know I enjoy it. If the fans enjoy it, let us know.
Especially.
So here we go.
Number one.
I mentioned earlier that my number one was on your honorable mentions list.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we all know where I'm going with this. To me, without a doubt, there is no more iconic, cool, crazy entrance in the history of the wrestling business than main event Jey Uso. It is without. Are you kidding me? That's not what it is. It's The Undertaker. What is wrong with all of you people thinking I was going to put main event Jey Uso? It wasn't even on my short list. It wasn't even on my long list. It's not in my top 200. It's a stupid entrance with stupid music and a stupid chant that I hate more than anything in the world. And the fact that you, for even 1 second, thought that I was crazy enough to put main event Jey Uso in my number one spot. You know what number one spot I'm going to put it at? It's the worst entrance in the history of the business. It's the worst thing. It's worse than TL Hopper. And all he had was a flushing toilet for his music, Dan. And you know what? I wish Jey Uso had a flushing toilet for his entrance music because it would make more sense for his character than what he has right now because Jey Uso is a big pile of crap and I hate every single second of it. No, actually, I don't hate Jey Uso all that much. But yeah, so let's get back to The Undertaker. So The Undertaker
I have to stop you for a second because I was literally like, wait a second. What the heck? So thank you for the enjoyable swerve there because I don't know how I got sucked into actually thinking that was a thing. I was like, what? Let's wait a second. Oh, yes.
I was so like,
You've been waiting for that.
I'm writing my list, and I've had my list for like a couple weeks now, and I sat there and I'm like, what if I screw with him and put like a terrible entrance at number one, like the worst? And I'm thinking like TL Hopper, literally it's just a flushing toilet, like that would be hysterical, or like Bastion Booger, like something like that, like just like the worst entrances you could possibly think of. And then I went, no, I'll do one even better. I will put main event Jey Uso at number one and watch you go, what? Huh? Like just out of everyone, that's like the one guy you're like, you can't stand. And again, I play it up obviously for this channel. I don't like the position that they keep putting Jey in. I don't dislike Jey as a character or even his entrance. I actually quite like his entrance. It's quite enjoyable. It's very fun. It's just he needs to learn to speak English in his promos. It's getting worse, dude.
It is.
Tracy showed me a clip of his promo from this past Monday, and I'm like, oh my God, it's getting worse.
It's rough. Honestly, I am, before we go too much farther in talking about him, I know where I was pre-WrestleMania with him, and we will be working on a separate video for talking about Jimmy and Jey coming up in October. I'm just going to leave it at that.
We meaning you and me? Because that's news to me.
Yes, it is breaking news right here, right now. Because Monday, this past Monday and the week before, I'm just like, I'm getting why people have been like they have, and I've just had the blinders on.
I've been saying it's January.
I know. I'm sorry.
January.
I've been apologizing since.
I will save it. I will
save it. Apologizing since like June.
I will. You have. I will. So I will save it. I will save it for that video. So that's breaking news. Cool. Okay. So let's get back to The Undertaker. By the way, hooray! I put that up there because he was number one. Hooray! Can I get a hip hip? Hooray! Okay, I'm done. So The Undertaker. Listen, I to me, there is no entrance that has ever in the business that has ever been greater, never been more iconic, never fit a character better, never anything. And I know I said that about Goldberg as well, like fitting a character, but I mean, maybe this is like number 2 in terms of fitting a character, or Goldberg's number 2. We can argue semantics all we want, but the Undertaker entrance is so iconic that all I have to do is say one word, and everybody knows what I'm talking about. There are people that have never watched wrestling before that if I said that one word, they would know I'm talking about the Undertaker. And that is gong. If I just say gong, there are people in China that have never watched WWE before that go Undertaker. Like they will immediately know what I'm talking about. There are people that don't speak the language that if I say gong, they will know I am talking about the Undertaker, El Undertaker. Like it will be, it is so iconic that I just have to walk up and say that, and everybody will know. That entrance defined not only an era of wrestling, I would argue that it defined all of professional wrestling history. There is no WWE without The Undertaker, and there is no Undertaker without that entrance. That is just an undeniable fact. It has everything you could ever want. It has the gong. It is the most, outside of the glass shatter, it is the most recognizable entrance beginning in history outside of glass shattering. That is it. That's the only one that I would put above it in that category. It has the fire coming up out of the stage. It has that slow saunter walk that you hate so much all the way down to the ring, because that's what The Undertaker does. The Undertaker doesn't run. The Undertaker doesn't jog. Unless he's on fire at the Elimination Chamber that one time. Then he runs. But yeah, that's a one-off. We don't talk about that one. He doesn't walk. He doesn't jog. He doesn't briskly, power walk like he's probably doing right now with Michelle, because they're old and that's what old people do, is power walk for their exercise. I'm sorry, that was really mean. Please don't kill me. Mr. Calloway, please don't kill me. I see you a lot of weeks at the PC. Please don't hurt me.
Make sure he hears this clip.
Yeah, sure. So whatever. So he doesn't do any of that. It is the Undertaker walk. It is a zombie walk. It is a druid walk. And it doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter who's in the ring. The Reaper has arrived, and he is here to collect your soul. That slow turn, walking to the stairs, the lifting up of the jacket ever so slightly so as to not trip. Only walking up half the steps, putting it back down, and turning on all the lights with all the thunder noises. And he comes back up, the grabbing of the hat so that it doesn't fall off. It is all iconic and perfect and fits that character to a T. And then, of course, as Finn Balor would say, the coup de grace, the taking off of the hat, eyes rolling back, and you know it's about to go down. There is no escape. Whoever that other person is scared to death. And if you don't believe me...
Brock Lesnar.
Well, okay. It's fair enough. If you don't believe me that this is the coolest entrance of all time, ask any wrestler ever which entrance is the best entrance of all time. I would say probably 80% of them would say The Undertaker. The stories that Stone Cold has told, Kurt Angle, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, JBL, John Cena, the list goes on and on of people that have stood in that ring. Mark Henry stood in that ring and heard that gong hit. And even they, who have been wrestling for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, however long they've been wrestling, forgot everything they were supposed to do. Had no idea what was going on. And even though they knew that that man wasn't actually about to kill them, because it was obviously, he's not literally dead. He's not literally a demon or whatever. Like, he's just a dude. playing a character, they were scared. They were lost. They were enthralled. They were completely blown away by this entrance. As professionals, as people that would see it every day, they still, when they heard that gong hit and they saw that entrance and they saw that man walk down to the ring, they started shaking. They started getting scared. They started losing themselves. Stone Cold Steve Austin literally said, yeah, one time I was standing in the ring there. I had to wrestle the Undertaker at that Survivor Series. And then all of a sudden, I hear that gong hit. And by God, I don't know what happened. It's like everything just left my mind. It was like I forgot everything I was supposed to damn well do in that ring that day. I couldn't help myself. I was just sitting in there going, oh my God, what is this? This guy's going to kill me. This is crazy. I'm stone cold. What? So, like, he literally tells that story where he saw the Undertaker come down and went, I don't remember anything we were supposed to do. That's Stone Cold Steve Austin. No other entrance has ever done that. No other entrance can ever do that. There's only one, and it's Jey Uso. It's the Undertaker. It's the only one that has ever happened to, and it happened over and over and over and over again. Mark Henry says a similar thing with their WrestleMania match. When that gong hit, the world's strongest man for a shoot, that's not a gimmick. He literally was the world's strongest man at one point. Was like, I was terrified. Terrified? You could literally rip the guy in half and you're terrified? That's what the entrance did, though. Even to grown men, even to those wrestlers, it did that to them. No other entrance has ever done that. No other entrance will ever do that. I'm standing on my grounds. If you're talking coolest entrances ever, Undertaker is number one, and no other entrance will ever top it. It will be number one on my list for the rest of time, and there will never be another entrance better. In large part because, unfortunately, we didn't get much of the Fiend now, did we? That was probably the only one I would have even given a chance. We're not going to get it now, and that's a shame. But anyway, okay. Again, with that B, I think I know where you're going with this.
All right, my number one.
Is it Bianca Belair?
No, I only had one female.
Are you
wrestler.
on your own against the wall?
It is Bruno Samar. I can't say the last name. Sammartino. Bruno Sammartino here. No, I'm just kidding. It's not Bruno. It's Bray Wyatt. Sure. But and mine's a cult leader Bray Wyatt, not the Fiend Bray Wyatt. The lantern, okay. The original lantern, the original Fireflies. There's something. The Fiend didn't quite do it for me. That was just pushing the creepiness edge to me at the time. I think looking back at it, I think I appreciate it more looking back at it. But when I was doing this, I was thinking more cult leader Bray Wyatt instead of the Fiend Bray Wyatt. But both are still, very, very good. Again, these, for whatever reason, Bray and Balor, those iterations of those two just stood out to me. And I know, as you're talking about Undertaker more, I'm just kind of like, yeah, I get it, and I don't know why that just doesn't scratch the itch for me. I know, and every single list, it's up there, one of the top, if not the top, one of the top three, top whatever. It's I don't it's hard to explain other than what I've already said. The long walk, as always, is kind of just got me away from the entrance. The gong right there, I get it. The gong, the glass shattering, as we've talked about throughout this episode, it's there. The beginning of those entrances are definitely iconic. It's just the rest of those entrances I just don't do it for me. Which is weird when it gets to Bray Wyatt, I think. The more I thought about it, it's like, how am I putting Bray here when I don't? But I don't know. There's something different about Bray, especially as a cult leader. That put him here. I honestly kept on going back and forth between Bray and the Demon Finn Balor. And I think it might be more of because we'll never get to see that with Bray ever again, whether it's the cult leader or the Fiend. That kind of threw over the edge for me. It's kind of like Yeah, it's the tough part there that we don't get to see that again. Where I just appreciate that more as a cool entrance over those. So I know I have a weird, wacky list. And as we've talked through more, I'm probably like, yeah, I probably could have adjusted this a little bit more. But I stick by it, as crazy as it is.
Hey,
It's
man, it's yours.
it's
It's yours. You gotta own it, brother.
so let
No, I love it.
the people let the people destroy us. That's fine. I have no problem with that. This was very fun exercise that you even mentioned. It just kind of being out of my comfort zone definitely was. I think kind of evidence kind of by my list a little bit. But I still stand by kind of my reasons of why I think great moments in some of those entrances. But I'm kind of like I'm more I've heard you describe stuff, and then I put Bray Wyatt at number one, and I kind of
Which
always
I have
kept
no problem with.
right,
No
and
problem
I
with at all.
kept kind of him and Demon Balor, at the top two there for pretty much the whole time I was looking into things, and I'm kind of like, it's to me it does kind of strike me as odd that it's like it's those two with the aura and how the Undertaker does command that aura, but yeah, there's just something that's always just never hit me right with the Undertaker's. I get it. I know I'm in a completely minuscule minority here, but yeah, there's just something that's just never quite hit that there. But I mean, it's nothing against him or that entrance. I'm sure there's plenty of other people that are have different things, but yeah, I'm kind of maybe regretting not at least having him on the list. I probably should have him at, if I wanted to make sure, if I, not make sure, but if I wanted to have someone like Bobby Roode for that iconicness of the glorious and the song and the robe, like Undertaker should have probably been right there with him, right above. So I do have a regret not putting Undertaker on my list at this point. After hearing you go through it, but yeah, there are certain things where I'm kind of like I feel entrances. Some of them are kind of known for one moment, not the whole thing, not the thing as a whole.
I do have a question. You mentioned early on that you were scared as to how I was going to react to a lot of your top five. I didn't have a problem with most of your. I mean, the Shield I feel like was a bit high at 3. Like that seemed a bit high for me, but they were still in my top 20-25. So like, it's not like it's that crazy egregious, I guess.
Yeah.
But like, if you weren't concerned about Seth, what were you concerned about? Like which one was the one that you were like, I'm scared he's going to react to this one poorly?
I wasn't sure about the Bray one until you honestly said he was at your 2.
Okay.
And then
no, I wouldn't have had a problem.
Honestly, H and Shield. I wasn't really sure where you landed with those two.
Okay.
At all, as a whole. So, that's where I was kind of like, and that's where I say, it's like I feel like 5 through the rest. That could be. I could be sitting one way, and in 3 months I could be sitting another way, and another 3 months after that I might sit another way and put Jey Uso at number 2. I'm just kidding.
I mean, I had him at number 1, so I can't judge.
I dislike you a lot for that, but that was very, very, very well done. Very,
Thank you.
Very well done. I was like, wait.
It's met Jey Uso. Well, there's never been a more iconic entrance than the Yeet Feller.
The only thing you missed was a no Yeet.
Yeah, well, I won't give it justice. I won't give it that. I won't give it that. It doesn't deserve it. It deserves simply dismissal is what it deserves. It deserves me throwing it across the room, which is what I did, and going, "Are you out of your mind to even remotely think that this is what would happen?" No, that is all it deserves, and that is what it got. It did get a fiery, impassioned promo, though, so I guess
that was excellent, most excellent, sir.
I came up with that on the spot too, by the way. That was not rehearsed.
Nice.
It was not anything. That was just straight up how I felt in my bones about that entrance. That makes me sad every time I hear it.
Gotcha. Now I
think unfortunately more and more people are getting that way now too.
Yeah.
Which is what I was freaking concerned about 9 bloody months ago.
Thank you everybody for watching. Really want to know what you think of our top 10 list. That's why we were doing this video. Please click through, let us know what you think. Destroy me. I know I was weird on a lot of my picks. That's fine. Tyler did a lot of
maybe they'll
nostalgia
destroy
picks,
my list too, dude. My list
it's-
wasn't perfect. I didn't
yeah.
even put Bray Wyatt's regular thing on there, so that's I should have. I 100% should have.
But I did enjoy that outside of Bray, and technically that was a little bit different because we both think two different things of Bray. We both had Bray Wyatt representation. We both had Finn Balor representation with the demon on it, and everything else is different. That was really cool, honestly. I thought that was a lot of fun, just in that aspect alone. So, thank you for taking me out of the comfort zone. It was a lot of fun. We still got our WrestlePalooza picks in, so those are here as well. Let us know how we do those. I know it sounds weird, but I'm going with it. I don't care. Thank you, Cody Rhodes. So with that, please give the video a like, subscribe to the channel so you can get more video, because we're coming up with more content as we go on. Top 10 lists, top 20, 500 lists, whatever you want. Let us know in the comments below. Leave a comment. Let us know when you're doing our Palooza picks. And that will be our sign off for the night. And we have to do our yeet, or at least I am. Appreciate that. So let us know what you think. He did it. He did it, folks. Let us know how we did. Interact with us. We love it. And we will catch you guys next time.